Oceanus tries to present to you the biggest container ship disasters of the 21st century. MOL Comfort, Indian Ocean 2013. The loss of MOL Comfort was the worst container shipping disaster in modern history. On June 17, 2013, the ship broke in two while sailing in the Indian Ocean, carrying more than 4,000 containers. The entire crew managed to leave the shipping safely, but both parts sank spectacularly after about 10 days, during which rescue teams installed a towing line to the bow. However, the shipping caught fire and sank after several weeks. It is estimated that around 4,293 containers were lost. MSC Flaminia, North Atlantic 2013. The German-flagged container ship, MSC Flaminia, was rocked by a series of explosions and a large fire in her cargo hold during a voyage across the North Atlantic in July 2012. Tragically, the explosions and fire resulted in the loss of the lives of the ship's 4 remaining crew members. They left the ship and were picked up by the Good Samaritan. The 300-meter-long ship burned for several weeks, emitting toxic fumes into the air and causing extensive damage to the ship due to environmental hazards. The ship had no shelter for months before the Germans finally agreed to accept her temporary home. Almost 3 months after the first explosion, another fire occurred after the MSC fire. The ship was finally repaired and returned to service in 2014. 2002 Pennsylvania Indian Ocean engine. The Pennsylvania engine, less than a year out of the shipyard, experienced an explosion in the cargo hold on November 11, 2002 off the coast of Sri Lanka during a voyage from Singapore to Germany. 4 days after the initial explosion, a second explosion rocked the 282-meter-long ship. The source was one or more containers containing misfired fireworks as indicated on the ship's manifest. Tragically, 2 crew members died in the accident. The ship was declared completely lost but never reached port. However, this ship was rebuilt and resumed operations under a new name, not AirAsia, but Bellatrix. Hyundai Fortune, Gulf of Aden 2006. The 274-meter Hyundai Fortune was rocked by a powerful explosion while heading west in the Gulf of Aden on March 21, 2006. Dozens of containers were thrown overboard in the explosion, creating a pile of debris estimated 5 miles around the boat. The resulting fire burned for several days. The crew abandoned the ship and were picked up by a Royal Netherlands Navy destroyer, with only 1 crew member suffering non-life-threatening injuries. The ship was finally towed to Salalah, Oman, and it is known that around 1,000 of the 3,000 containers were damaged by the fire. The ship was later repaired and returned to service. It was dismantled in 2018. MSC Napoli, English Channel 2007. In January 2007, the 275-meter-long MSC Napoli cracked and flooded after experiencing bad English Channel weather during a Belgium to Portugal voyage. 26 crew members managed to abandon ship, leaving Napoli floating off the coast of Cornwall, England. The ship was eventually towed, but officials feared it would break up and sink, so it was deliberately beached on the coast of Lyme Bay off the coast of Cornwall after unloading rescue crew, fuel and cargo. Napoli was refloated on July 9th, but it was soon determined that her condition was too poor to be towed, and they elected to dismantle the ship 3 days later in August 2007. The bow section of the hull was taken to the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast, Northern Ireland for disposal and recycling. Plans to withdraw the stern section were also abandoned in March 2008 in favour of cutting it off and scrapping the sections. Rena, New Zealand 2011. Early on October 5, 2011, the 224-meter-long container ship Rena struck an astrolabe reef in New Zealand at a speed of approximately 17 knots while heading for Tauranga. The ship was exposed to bad weather the following months and broke up on a coral reef. A salvor sought to reduce its environmental impact as much as possible due to the pounding waves. The Rena finally split into 2 in January 2012, leaving the salvor with the only option to dismantle the wreck right on the coral reef. Ultimately, the incident resulted in the release of approximately 200 tons of heavy fuel oil and the loss of a large number of cargo containers. New Zealand's Prime Minister declared the wreck the worst maritime disaster in the country's history. It was determined that Rena's second officer had deviated from her intended course to Tauranga to meet a pilot boat deadline. The problem was that the change in course took the ship right past the charted reef, and no one realized the mistake until it was too late. The master and second officer were both arrested and sentenced to 7 months in prison for their roles in the disaster. MSC Honam, Arabian Sea 2018. The ship was being loaded with a total of 7,860 containers when a serious fire was reported in one of the cargo holds on Tuesday, March 6th. While of the 27 crew members, 23 were successfully evacuated to nearby containers, but tragically 5 crew members died as a result of the accident. The company said that a full investigation would be conducted to determine the cause of the fire.